It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're reacting and having a discussion about a video from DaBrownie titled Fixing Solo Queue in DBD. So I've covered DaBrownie's videos in the past. He's always got some pretty interesting takes that are very well-rounded and even backed up with evidence, which is something we don't see a lot of in the DBD community. So I'm very happy to hear that. But let's go ahead and dive into this. It's basically trying to fix solo queue in DBD, which as a killer player, I might be able to offer a perspective on it, and maybe I can help fix solo queue. Let's find out.
A solution to fix solo queue in Dead by Daylight, at least one of its biggest issues. Now, we all know that one of the biggest issues for solo queue in DBD is the communication and coordination issues. You know, two of you guys are working on a generator, and then one guy's on hook, and you guys both go for the save, just wasting a bunch of time, right? So I think I created a system that can fix that, but not make it as overpowered as, you know, Swifts on Discord, but, you know, not making it as video game-like as, say, a ping system. So essentially every survivor will start the trial with a phone, and the phone will be dead. You know, you can't use the phone at all. But you start working on a generator, now you gain the option to charge your phone. So charging your phone takes 5% from the generator and puts it into your phone, right? So it is a little bit of a trade-off, right? You're working on a gen, it's at 30%.
Oh, I kind of see what we're going for here. And I gotta give credit to DaBrownie for the creativity for this, like putting together the little phone PNG and the little text like I can't go for the save. I like the concept. It's really fun. It looks really cool. I think what they could do to like tie it into lore would be something like a little, oh man, because like I maybe a scroll or something, I don't know, like or just like keep it like every other game where it's like a little like chat or something. You just press the button for chat and then you can like quickly send a message or something like For Honor does. If you guys have ever seen For Honor, they actually have like a little feed that goes on the HUD on the bottom left side of the screen, and it actually will have like pre-loaded pre-written call outs that you can just hold down the button. You press the corresponding button input to say what you want to say. That also could be a good option. That probably works in a similar way. But the phone thing does make it more fun, because if you could have like an animation where they look at the phone, that would be pretty cool too. But yeah, I gotta say I like the idea, because at least it doesn't completely give like very specific call outs, which is what makes Discord calls so strong, because like you can give detailed information about where the killer went, where he's going, where it's at, what herc he's using, blah blah blah. So like this, I have to say, is very creative. I'm a fan of it. It's really cool that we're thinking of something interesting and unique.
You decide to charge your phone, now it goes down to 25%, right? It's just a flat 5%. But once the phone is charged, it'll be like basically it'll drain over the course of 60 seconds. So it'll be at 100%, 60 seconds later it would be at 0, right? This would allow survivors to communicate with other survivors who also have charged phones, right? And they get simple preset messages. So to keep it quick and balanced and fair and prevent survivors from texting each other slurs, it'll be preset choices like, I'm going for the save, don't go for the save, I will, wait to save, I can't, okay.
I like that. So basically like what I was saying, but just like combined with this idea, could create like a cool animation, probably in third person most likely, maybe with like a feed on the side of the screen or something like that, just to say, just to kind of like convey that they're communicating. And I think that could potentially work, because like we understand that like with behavior, like they are not super competent when it comes down to kind of creating these kinds of things. So I think to keep it as simple as humanly possible, if there was some way to have some kind of quick chat in a small animation that already is in the game, that might help help it a lot.
No, in like let's heal first or like let's reset first, right? So I think this will allow survivors to coordinate some of the most important aspects of the game, which would be going for saves and unhooks and healing and like resetting and things like that. So to put this into an example, it'd be something like this, right? Leon messages the team, go for the save because he's on a gen that's at like 90%. He's about to pop it. Claudette responds, I can't because she's injured. Nia responds, all go for the save. And then the fourth survivor, Ada, is just on the hook. Now, nobody knows why Claudette can't go for the save. She just says, I can't. That's all you can see. But you can look at the HUD, see she's injured. That's probably why she's saying she can't. Or maybe the killer's nearby, and that's why she's saying I can't. It keeps it a little bit vague, a little bit of ambiguity, so that way it's not like, you know, perfect Swift level Discord comms. So that way the
I honestly, I like the idea. I think it works. Because I know there was other suggestions that we've heard from in the past that were basically saying, like, why don't we have, like, some kind of radios or something like that to kind of talk to them, you know, with, like, our microphones or something like that. Now, the issue with that, obviously, is, like, this game already has a lot of just terrible, hateful people within the community, as we've seen in the past. I do not think that DVD wants another, like, Leatherface controversy. With the whole cool, like, which it was such a cool concept to have, like, those survivors becoming like, masks for Leatherface, and that got promptly removed because of particular people. And I imagine that if they did have something where they can actually write that in to the game, I don't think it'd be really that good for the game, especially with this community that we are a part of. But I like the fact that we can quick chat. Like, that works. I like that. You know, that, like, I think that'll offer something, because I think having to have a moderation for chat and things like that, I think is going to probably make it even harder for DBD, which already struggles as it is. These, like, the devs already struggle as it is. But yeah, I think this is a really good concept so far.
killer has something to work with, right? So you just have to kind of trust your team, but you have the general communication so that way you know that somebody's going for the save or not, right? I think some other small mechanics to have for the phone would include something like survivors with dead phones can see that they're receiving messages, but they can't read them and they can't send messages, right? So they'll have a little icon in the bottom left-hand corner of their screen that has like missed messages, and it'll say 0, 1, 2, 3 missed messages. So that way they know, hey, they're getting messages, but their phone's dead. So they're like, my gen's at 99%. Do I just pop the gen, or do I go ahead and charge my phone real quick and then risk the killer interrupting me or like hitting it with a pain res or something like that? So, or, you know, the survivors could just see the fact that they have 3 missed messages and they're like, damn, I really want to get rid of those notifications. Get rid of that little orange missed message bubble or something like that, you know. Just a little bit of a psychological aspect of it. I think that'd be, you know, kind of fun, kind of cool, but yeah. And also another thing, survivors can't charge their phones off a completed generator. So it kind of has like a knock-on type effect where survivors can communicate really easily and very frequently in the beginning of the match, while also giving the killer some much needed early game passive slowdown, since it's 5% per phone charge, right? And then as the survivors do better and they pop more and more and more generators, it becomes harder to communicate. So the communication starts really strong and really good, and, you know, it's very clear and concise. And then as they do better and better and better, it becomes harder and harder to communicate, so that way the killer can maybe have a chance to make things happen and charge.
That is such an incredible idea, honestly. And I do want to hear other Survivor players who, you know, maybe would be listening to this, or anybody who mains a lot of Survivor can kind of offer a perspective on this, because I think that hearing the other side's perspective would help with this conversation, because I think personally that having it balanced in that kind of way offers a bit more communication, a bit more tools for the Survivor side that already struggle to communicate within the solo queue. And this directly affects mainly solo queue, because if anybody has any form of comms, you won't even need to use the chat feature at all, because you already have somebody you're speaking to, and then maybe you can try to communicate with that third person through the quick send of the preset messages. And I think also the idea that the communication is weaker over time would actually make a lot of sense, And that's good. That's how you keep it balanced. That's how you keep it going. You know what I mean? And I gotta say, is a good idea. We would have to see it in action. We would have to also see how behavior would implement it. But from what we can see as just a general concept, like, here's the idea, what do you think, kind of thing, I think it's pretty good. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from Survivor players, like, if this is like something that you would think could add to the experience. Like, would this be helpful for people in solo queue? Which obviously, like I've even stated before in the past, solo queue cannot really be entirely solved like all the way through, because it does mean that you need your teammates to actually be, you know, competent, which is asking for people to actually improve at the game, which is not something that is really likely to happen. And we've seen that many a times, you know, within this game, and with any community discussion. A lot of the time it boils down to a skill issue on the players' end, and they just refuse to acknowledge it. But obviously within this case, it really is like, you know, it will be applicable to a lot of people that are trying to communicate with their team and trying to have a more enjoyable experience, because they're able to talk to their team, at least by just directly sending a little quick message, like the whatever have you know what I mean? So I think it's a good concept. The original video will be linked in the description as well, so you can watch the full thing, and maybe watch other videos from DaBrownie as well. And while you're down there, consider becoming a part of the Discord, or following on TikTok or Twitch, or hitting the sub button and all the YouTube stuff, whatever. Consider supporting, and shout out to my members at the end of the video.